I'm a 34-year-old woman, and my husband, Daniel, is 36. We've been together for over a decade, and for most of that time, we've been trying to have a child. It's been an exhausting, heartbreaking journey, IVF cycles that failed, endless doctor visits, thousands of dollars spent with nothing to show for it but disappointment. Eventually, we had to accept that biological children just weren't in the cards for us. It was hard, but we found peace in the idea of fostering or adopting when we were ready. Not everyone in our lives has been supportive, though. Daniel's younger sister, Laura 29F, has made my infertility the punchline of every joke for years. She has 3 kids, 6, 4, and 2 years old, and never misses a chance to brag about how fertile she is. She used to make cruel comments at family gatherings, things like, "I just look at my husband and get pregnant," or "maybe you should just relax. Stress is probably why it's not happening for you." And the worst one, "Maybe it's a sign you're not meant to be a mom." It was unbearable. No one in the family ever called her out for it, either. I tried to ignore her, but after our last failed IVF attempt, I had to step back from family events entirely. It was too much. Daniel understood, and we agreed to limit contact with her. His parents, though, tried to keep the peace. They'd say things like, "She doesn't mean it," or "She's just immature," but that excuse wore thin after years of the same behavior. Laura's husband, Mark 32M, is useless. He barely helps with the kids, constantly complains about money, and leaves Laura to handle everything on her own. From what I heard through the family grapevine, their relationship is a mess. She's always stressed, always struggling, but somehow she still finds time to act smug about being a mother. A few weeks ago, I found out through Daniel's mom that Laura was pregnant again. She wasn't happy about it this time, though. She was overwhelmed, barely getting by with the 3 she already had, and apparently Mark wasn't thrilled about another baby either. Maybe this is karma, I remember thinking. Maybe she finally gets how hard it is. But I didn't dwell on it too much. It wasn't my problem. Then, completely out of the blue, Laura called me late one night. I hadn't spoken to her directly in months, and I almost didn't answer. When I did, her voice was shaky, like she'd been crying. She didn't even bother with small talk. "I want you to take the baby." At first, I didn't even process what she was saying. I asked her to repeat herself. "I want you to adopt the baby when it's born." I was stunned. This was the same woman who had mocked me relentlessly for not being able to have children. Now she was just handing one over? Something didn't add up. I stayed calm and asked why. Laura broke down. She said she couldn't do it again. She was exhausted, financially screwed, and completely alone in raising her kids. She said Mark wasn't helping and that she was at her breaking point. I didn't know what to say. A part of me felt bad for her, but I couldn't ignore the years of cruelty. And more than that, something about this felt off. Why me? She had never once offered us a chance to take in one of her kids before, even when she was struggling. And now, out of nowhere, she was just giving me her baby? I told her I'd have to talk to Daniel first and ended the call. But the whole thing left a bad taste in my mouth. I wasn't sure what to think. Was this genuine? Was she actually willing to do this? Or was there something else she wasn't telling me? When Daniel got home, I told him everything. He didn't look surprised. He sighed and said, "She's up to something." And honestly, I agreed. You said, the moment Daniel heard what Laura had said, he didn't hesitate. He pulled out his phone and called his mom. She answered almost immediately. After a bit of casual small talk, Daniel asked about Laura, specifically about her financial situation. There was a pause before his mom sighed. Laura had been struggling. Apparently, she'd maxed out multiple credit cards and had started missing payments. Mark wasn't helping financially either, he never had. Between daycare costs, rent, and just trying to keep food on the table for 3